Good afternoon, everyone, and it's so good to be in the town of Wareham, Mass. Yet another notch in my belt. My name is Harrison Young. I host a TV show called Topic Time, and I've been bringing it to more towns than you can shake a stick at in Greater Boston, and now I'm here in Wareham, and I hope you like it. I have an awesome show. I interview a lot of awesome people. I've been doing the show for 10 years, and I have a great guest with me tonight, and we're going to interview her, look at some of her work. She's an actress. She's a mom. She's got kids, cats, whatever. But we're going to, before we get there, got a few little underwriters tonight, but they're awesome. We've got to read them off, and then we'll do the show as usual. So get psyched for Topic Time and enjoy it. And here we go. We have Bonnecote Monuments in Middleborough. We got Bryant's Auto and Tire Service in Middleborough. We got Pembroke Radiator in Pembroke. We got Vape Solutions in East Bridgewater. We got Kingston Auto Body in Kingston. We got the Cornerstone Barber Shop in Pembroke. And we got Matt's Auto Repair and Service in Kingston. I want to thank you guys very much. And now on that note, I will introduce this lovely young lady here. This is Dana Wine. Like I said, she's an actress. She's done a lot of cool stuff, and we've been trying to get her on the show for years, actually. And you know, she's been trying to get her on my show, and I've been trying to get her on. But today we're making it happen. So Dana, thank you for finally coming up here from the lovely state of Connecticut to do my show.
Well, thanks for having me. And it has been a very long time that we've been trying to organize this, so.
Okay, but I always say everything happens,
great.
number one, for a reason, and number two, in its own time.
I totally agree.
Because you've probably done so much stuff since the first time I tried to reach out to you to get you on that it's worth covering, that wouldn't have happened if, we wouldn't have been able to cover yet, because if you'd come in on an earlier year or whatever.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about Dana like I do with everybody that I interview. We're going to talk about what you were like growing up and where you grew up and how it got you to where you're at now. Tell me what you were like as a child. Where did you grow up? And, were you an outgoing kid? Were you a shy kid? What were your goals and aspirations for the future? Then we'll move it forward and talk about the present and then look toward the future. So go ahead. And if I have any questions, okay, I'll fling them at you.
All right. So as a kid, since probably 3, I remember standing in front of a mirror practicing my Academy Awards. So
wow,
like I wanted to act since I was a kid.
Cool.
Very young. And I remember, one time seeing my mother I think this inspired. She's just in this beautiful dress going out for New Year's Eve, and it just made me think of the academies. My aunt, I lived with my aunt and
okay,
my mother, and my aunt.
Where?
In Vernon. In Vernon. I'm back in Vernon. I never thought I'd be back in the same
That's what you call
town,
an epic journey. Vernon, Connecticut,
yes,
right?
Correct.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
So my aunt was very much into movies. She was very much into mafia movies.
When you say into movies, do you say that she just enjoyed them, or do you say that do you mean that she might have acted in them? Or
no, she just enjoyed them. And
okay,
she would always say, "Oh, come over here, sit on my lap, let's watch a movie." And
okay,
and she would always talk about the Hollywood stars. And
did she have any particular type of movie she liked?
Mafia,
which
so probably inspired me to write the fedoras back when I wrote the fedoras.
I assume The Godfather was one of her faves.
Oh yeah,
At least in the top 5, I'm guessing, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. She loved mafia movies. She liked more.
Well, a quick question right off the bat. What did your mother think of your aunt trying to influence you to watch mob films? Was she okay with it?
Yeah, my mom was okay with it. My mother watched murder mystery. There was no censoring for me as a child.
Good.
I watched whatever.
It's like my cousin Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
Who I'm sure you've heard of.
I have, but I don't know her.
That's cool.
Past
You don't need to
or
know
whatever.
her, but that's a show for another day. But that's cool.
But yeah,
okay,
so I could pretty much watch. I was watching horror movies at really young ages. Sometimes I'd be scared to death to go to bed, or I'd swear that I saw ghosts. Well, that's the thing.
Sometimes when children are at that impressionable age and they're watching horror movies, and I would think that somebody in their family would say, they can't sleep and there's crying in the middle of the night if they wake up screaming and it's disturbing everyone in the household. I would think somebody would say, hey, maybe we should put a stop to Dana's enjoying those movies because it's having these bad side effects in the overnight. But I guess that wasn't the case with you.
I keep things to myself, so
okay,
it scared me, but I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't calling. My aunt was the one. If I needed stuff, I'd usually call her, but I wasn't. Auntie Sharon. No, I'm like, all right, I can deal with it. And if I had to go to the bathroom, I'd jump off the bed so that nothing could pull me under the bed.
I hear you. All right. Well, in terms of you used to dress up in your aunt's dresses. Did they actually have mob movies for the Academy Awards? I thought that most of those movies were like romance comedies and like Gone with the Wind and.
At the time when I was very young, I don't remember I just remember seeing, these beautiful people coming up. I didn't
Okay.
remember who everybody was at
All right,
the
so you
time.
like mob movies and you like the Oscar awards, the ceremonies to watch on TV.
Yeah. But now I like comedy. I
Me
like
too.
to laugh. I like,
And sometimes they can intertwine the two things so well. Horror and comedy go very well together.
yes.
Plenty of great producers of the two genres, and one of them is Joe McGee, who you've worked with.
Yes.
And we're going to
Yes.
talk about that too. But let's skip back a little bit. So, being that you liked, getting dressed up for these, watching these films and pretending, or watching the horror films, but pretending you were, I guess, an actress at the Academy Awards, what did that prompt you to do as a child that kind of like led you to where you're at now? Anything that's worth mentioning?
Well,
Like you doing
as
acting as a kid?
I didn't as much, and I'm not going to go into my whole history,
Okay, that's
but my
fine.
mother was kind of dark, and
Oh,
she wouldn't put me in things. I didn't do things. She had kind of a drinking problem, so
Oh, okay.
so we didn't get into go to the places like that or do those things. It was all, things in your imagination
Yeah.
or things that you did at home. So no, I didn't as a kid. But then as an adult, I was like, all right, I'm going to do everything. Always as a kid, I was like, when you're an adult, you could do anything you want. The sky's the limit. Like you could do anything. So
Okay.
I just always wait, and then as I got older, I just started getting myself involved in more activities and doing things that I wanted to do as a kid.
okay. Like what? I mean, were they not, they weren't self-destructive things, were they?
No. I'm like one of those like eat healthy, don't smoke, don't drink kind
Good.
of thing.
I'm glad to hear that. Well,
Yeah.
so what were the things that you were involved in as a teenager?
So I got, I did have kids very young. I had one set of kids very, very young.
Yeah, you
So
told
I
me
was
you
a
had one-
teen
you
mom.
have a 32-year-old child, right?
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
But I'm only 30.
Right.
So yeah, I was a teen mom.
Okay.
But I would get out and do dinner theater. I used to work for this company called the Downstairs Production Company. Not sure if they're still doing anything.
Okay.
So I'd get involved in things like that. I'd get people together. I created some of my own productions.
Okay.
I'd work.
Like your own productions, like what?
Well, I did the Fedora's Web Bob series. It never really got finished editing. We had some issues because it was never. It was one of these
Was that
things.
with Billy V?
It was with Billy V.
Yeah, I know Billy.
Billy's a good guy.
Oh,
I
cool. Yeah,
love
he's a
Billy
Connecticut
V.
guy too.
No. He's Rhode Island.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of right over the border,
Right,
so I
right,
could see where it
okay.
could be. But yeah, Billy's a great guy. Billy was.
I interviewed him at a road show back in 2013, for Killing Khan, which I was in briefly, but I never saw the film. I don't think it ever got completed.
That happens a lot with independent
It does.
films.
It absolutely does. It probably happens with big films too.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, but
Definitely.
so you this was probably about 7 years ago, right? With the Fedoras, because that's when I remember
Yeah,
reading
it was
about it.
about, yes.
Okay.
It was approximately.
So what did you-
I'm
you-
terrible with time.
No,
but-
don't worry about it. That's what I'm for. I'm good with time. So did you have a role in that? And
Oh
what,
yeah,
what was it?
I was Antonia. I was actually Billy V's girlfriend.
Okay.
So he was.
He was a mobster and you were his girlfriend.
Yes.
Got it.
Nino Ponticello, he was, and I was Antonia. And
Okay.
so basically it was kind of the Italian crime bosses fighting up against the Irish mob.
Good stuff.
It was great, and people put so much time, and it was one of those ones that didn't get off the ground. And for a while there, it was kind of like, I'm never going to do a production again. And then my good friend Charlie Alejandro,
Okay. I know Charlie. I had her on the show a few years
she's
ago.
awesome.
She's awesome. She is.
And she's also a motivational speaker, and she was like, Dana, like what? She's like, do you know how many films haven't gotten off the ground? Like you're not going to do it because of that. She's like, do your own thing. Like you have the talent.
Cool.
So recently, I just started my own new YouTube series.
Awesome.
We just filmed the first
I
one.
didn't even know that. That's great. Tell me
Yep.
about it.
It's The Devil Made Me Do It.
Okay.
And
Did you write the script?
I wrote the script.
Phew.
Actually, it started off with one of my friends, Dexter, who's this awesome guy.
Okay.
So he's kind of part of it. Both of us inspired, we inspired each other.
Okay.
I wrote it. He'll probably be in some later episodes. He's not in the first one.
Okay.
And
So you're currently working on it now?
yes.
Beautiful.
We just filmed our first episode this past weekend, and I
Wow.
have to say,
That's what I saw on Facebook, right?
Yes, with
Okay.
Joe
and you had Tommy
McGee.
Ferry with you too. All right. So you
Tom
actually this was
Ferry.
your project that Joe McGee was in. It's not his project that you were in.
he's filming and editing, and
Oh, he's,
I have
he's
to
doing
say,
the film, and you did you
he
wrote the
is-
script for it. He was doing the filming, right? Is that
Yes.
you producing it? That is
Yes.
awesome. See, I didn't even know that.
He's amazingly
Oh, he
awesome.
is. I know that.
Because he just stepped up
Don't,
to the
don't, you don't want
plate.
his ego to inflate too much, but he's okay.
I'm going to
He's good
inflate his ego because
All right.
because I mean, we're filming, and one of the other guys is like, "Hey, who's editing this?" And I was like, "Well," and before I even get the sentence out, Joe's like, "I'm editing it," and I'm like, "I love you." So I mean, he's filming, he's editing.
The man is an editing freak.
He's
that,
awesome.
And that's like saying that the Chicago fire was a firecracker. Right, okay. Okay.
Yep.
It's poor choice of words, I guess. Well, that's all I had right at the moment. Okay.
Yeah. And then I have Tom Ferry, very talented,
Yep.
very.
He was on with me with Joe 2 years ago.
He's great because he's very focused.
Yep.
He's very focused.
Well, we're all focused.
Detail.
Okay.
Oriented. I just had a great crew. I had my friend Crystal, so she's not really an actress, but I kind of wrote this one part for her because I knew she'd be awesome.
Okay.
And I call her up. I'm like, you have to do it, and she's like, oh, well, I'll try it. And she's like, I'm so nervous, but if you watch it, she was like, I'm like nervous, like you were like, it looked like she'd been acting her whole life.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, maybe we can get her on the show at a future time.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Sounds like she'd be a cool guest.
She's fun.
All right. Well, talk about the series that you were on over the weekend. Just clarify without giving too much away.
Yeah.
And then I guess we're going to look at some of the footage too, and talk about the pictures that that accompanied the series that you have that we're going to look at.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead.
So it's called The Devil Made Me Do It.
The Devil Made Me Do It. Yep.
And it's really just kind of like a fast-paced comedy. It's a dark comedy, as we were just mentioning.
Okay.
So I'm kind of inspired by there's this YouTuber, Lily Pons.
Okay.
And she's freaking hysterical. Like I watch her stuff all the time, and I kind of was inspired with the pacing and the kind of humor by watching that. Mine will be a little different.
Yep.
But it's something that I just want to keep. I'm hoping to film 6 to 12 of these series and put them out.
Cool.
And then I kind of want to do a few other series in conjunction with it. So like maybe I'll put one up 1 month, a different one the next month,
Wow.
and kind of keep it going.
So how long ago did you have the idea to start writing these things? Was it just in the last year? You just had a baby this year, didn't you?
I just had a baby. She's 7 months today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Her name's Zalia. Yep, 7 months today.
Wow. Well, okay. So I'm just wondering, was she any inspiration for you to start writing? Was there a connection there?
No, not necessarily. I don't sleep much. I'm a very active, hyper person.
Yeah.
So, and now with COVID, I'm working from home for my day job.
Yep.
Everything you could get up and throw some laundry in and do some other things. So at night, instead of coming home trying to get everything else done, I'm like, I could sit down and write.
Okay, well, tell me when you started writing this. How long ago?
Actually, I wrote it probably 5 weeks ago.
So it's very recent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Was this the first thing you've ever written that you're proud enough to?
No.
Okay. So what other kind of things have you written over the years?
I had written a stage play for a class I was taking at UConn.
Okay.
And it was The Rise of Cleopatra.
Cool.
I love Cleopatra.
Were you Cleopatra?
No, I was not in this one.
You didn't write yourself into the play?
I was not in this one.
Okay.
I was simply the writer.
Okay.
But it was also a comedy. And like when you're sitting in the audience and there's a whole bunch of people and they don't know who wrote it,
Yep.
and they're laughing hysterically, you're like, yes. Like, because they're not laughing because they're my friend or they feel obligated.
Right.
They don't even know who I am.
You're making them laugh, and that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's a great feeling.
Great. That was great. So I had done that for a class. I had we had some people from the Lark Theater come up in this writing class, and we did some writing, and the lady was happy with my writing, which coming from somebody who's at such a high level, it was just nice. So
I can imagine it would be.
And it's funny because I never consider myself a writer, but then I'll just write these things.
Well, speaking of that, when did you actually start writing anything? Were you not a little kid? I guess this was your young adult life.
Yes.
Student at UConn,
yes.
and when did you graduate UConn?
I did.
And what did you major there in?
I had to do general studies because I'm there during the day. I'm working.
Oh, you work there now?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So you can't. It's really hard to declare a major in your undergrad.
Okay.
Because the classes are during the day. It's very geared for traditional students, and I was a non-traditional student because at 30,
right.
It's really hard to.
Okay, I understand, but that must what an inspiration though. To be able to write stuff for school and then get all that reaction. And I assume that once you did that, it just inspired you to keep going.
Yeah, and I just sometimes
that's
things.
what's the name of that? the devil made me do it. That came to mind, and sooner or later you'll do more stuff. It'll spiral into out of control the way you want it.
And subconsciously and ironically, that was my aunt's favorite line. She'd always joke around if something, she was fun. My aunt was fun. She'd be like, "Oh, the devil made me do it. Oh, the devil made you do it."
Okay.
So I think in my head that probably stuck, and then I just came up. I think I was inspired a lot by my aunt growing up in general.
Sounds like very inspired.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a very good businesswoman, very good with money, very good, which also I think helped me get into house flipping. My aunt loved her house and was very conscientious about everything being perfect.
Okay.
And unfortunately, she passed before I started flipping houses and really getting into a lot of the film.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate because I think she would have been very interested and probably involved and excited about it.
Okay, wow. No, yeah. Well, I mean, she definitely was a big inspiration in your life.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you know what I think we're going to do? We're going to take a look at a little clip of your work.
Okay.
And we'll be right back. So keep watching, folks. I hope you're enjoying the first episode ever of Topic Time in Wareham, and we'll be right back.
Time to die for Mother Russia.
My friend was sitting next to you. You grabbed a knife and attacked him. You don't remember that?
Vampire.
Do I look like a vampire to you, you asshole? I'm an angel.
Oh, that was great. Tell me about that.
So with the clips that we just viewed on The Devil Made Me Do It, that was kind of, I had worked for Joe McGee, so some of that film, the beginning half are films that I had acted in for him.
Okay.
And then he had, obviously, The Devil Made Me Do It with My Bright Wig. We know which one that one is. So Joe actually put together together that little trailer for me.
Okay.
So I'd worked on a couple of his sets as well. Great director, great cast.
Yep.
And I had recently helped him film his newest movie, For Bobby.
Okay, I didn't even hear of that one.
Yeah,
wow,
it's his newest one. It's very intense.
You can't keep track of his projects. There's so many of them.
You think I don't sleep much? I mean, this man is he's amazing. He just goes nonstop. And then the clips that we had looked at on the houses, those were just some of the houses that I flipped because that's my other hobby.
Okay.
Well, it's actually.
What's your other hobby?
Well, the house flipping and
That's a hobby? I thought that was work.
Well, it's a business, but it's also a hobby. I mean, I do enjoy it.
You do it.
I do.
If you do it well, I guess you enjoy it. That makes sense. Okay.
Like you'll see in that picture with the staircase.
Okay.
That staircase had straight walls coming down. The house was puke brown. It was disgusting.
Okay.
So
do you ever use the houses you flip in your films, or have you ever thought of doing that?
I have.
Okay. You have what? Done it or thought of doing it?
Thought of it.
Okay.
Thought of it. I've had people ask me. Let me back up. I did use one of them.
Okay.
For a film. Often, it's just I'm coming into houses that need to get done. So when you buy a house that's not finished and you get a bank loan, which unfortunately my
So you're a realtor too? Is that what?
Actually, I just finished the course. I have to just take the final test, and I will be. But the problem is the banks want everything done right away, so you don't have time to let people come in and film.
Oh, they want everything done right away, but when you want a loan, they'll take 6 months.
Oh God! don't even get me started on that.
As long as we're on the subject, right? Yeah.
But what I like is just I like the designing. Like you'll see with that staircase on that one picture. We blew that wall out, and we made it look like a designer kind of staircase. Like I always have to put a spin of something different or something unique on each of the houses.
Well, when you do, does this include any of your architectural skills involved in flipping houses? See, I'm not even sure what flipping houses are, except that you get a higher price for them than what they were originally worth. Isn't that what it means?
Yeah, so you buy them at a lower rate.
Okay.
But you do a lot of work. So I mean, your time is your money.
You work on the house, fixing them up, but you don't actually do the work, physical labor yourself.
Oh, I've done a lot of the physical labor.
Really?
Oh yes.
Wow.
I've snaked septics. I've done it all. I actually had a guy. It was funny because I had a plumber come in. He's looking at me. He's like, "You don't look like a girl that would snake a septic." I'm like, "I've been covered in it like the worst of us." Okay, I've done all of it.
Great.
So, but I also
all
have
trades, as they say.
some great people too that help me.
Okay.
But yeah, I would love to. If anyone's out there and wants to pick up a show on house flipping, I would love to do a house flipping show.
Well, I'll interview someone for house flipping. I'll be happy to. But But I have to learn a little about it first. My brother's a realtor. I'll talk to him and see if he does it. I'm not even sure. He's any house in our area that's for sale, I think, he's authorized to sell.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll have to save that show for another day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, in the meantime, talk about now what's going down in the future for you now. Once you're doing the Devil Maid, once you're done with that, well, first of all, when do you think you're going to be done with that, or is it going to be a while?
It'll probably be a little while because I want to do maybe 6 to 12 series, and I want to do some other series in the middle.
This isn't a one-time film. This is a web series
I would
or a
like
YouTube
to
series?
YouTube.
I got you. Okay.
I think YouTube's kind of the way things are going right now.
Oh, it absolutely is.
People don't want to see anything
show's on
longer than
YouTube.
6 minutes.
They'll love it,
Exactly.
of course.
And so I think it's a great platform to use, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
What I love is, like, we filmed Saturday and everybody had fun. It wasn't this uptight, nitpicky.
Of course, if you're not fun, you don't do it.
Well, I've been on sets that were not fun
Oh,
before.
I know that. I know. I have too. I've been on sets. I've been in films before. I've worked. Well, I haven't been in Joe's films, but I've been in some indie films. I actually had 2 major roles in films. I'm started in '97. Spielberg actually fired me on set after he hired me.
Oh, really?
Something he screwed up. And then 11 years later, I got picked as a mental patient in Shutter Island. That was a role I was born to play,
Oh,
obviously.
that's awesome.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm going to
yeah.
have to watch that and look for you.
I worked with Scorsese directly in the winter scene. We did a winter and a summer scene. The winter scene was they actually had me handcuffed and foot shackled and were escorting me across the floor of the old mental hospital in Medfield, Mass., which isn't a hospital anymore.
Uh-huh.
But the townspeople treat it like a shrine. It's a condemned building with bricks falling out and
Yeah.
and cobwebs growing everywhere. But for something like this, the land itself is probably worth a few million. You might want to look
yeah.
into doing some investing there.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But that's, and then, so Scorsese was a nice guy. Spielberg was the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I had a great chat with Scorsese. Because he worked, I told you I was Sarah Silverman's cousin, and when I told him, the girl that played the nurse that escorted me across the floor was an extra from L.A., California. I
Yeah.
told him that she'd worked with Sarah, and he goes, "Oh, I see the family resemblance." So it's kind of cool.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
It is, yeah.
That's
See,
awesome.
yeah. So, all right. So now,
I had gotten on the Black Mass.
okay.
I got cast.
Great.
And it was funny because
Is that an Edgar Allan Poe film?
that was with Johnny Depp.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Black Mass.
Yep.
And so anyway, there were 3 girls that were going to be in my scene. We were supposed to be the original opening scene. They
Yep.
were going to bring in fake rain, and we're in holding all day. And they take us to the second holding around, I don't know, it was probably 5 or 6.
Okay.
And this one girl, I felt so bad for her because she had a modeling job in Florida, and she canceled it because she wanted to be in this so bad.
Well,
Because Johnny Depp was going to be in this scene, and
He wasn't in it.
well, no, I saw him. He came through,
Okay.
and great. He has a great presence about him for sure.
Okay.
But
His ex-wife doesn't think so, but that's again another show for another
I'm not
day.
getting in the middle of that because I don't
Right.
know. But it was funny because about 7 o'clock, I said to the girls, I said, our scene's getting canceled. And they're like, why are you saying that? I'm like, because there's no way that Johnny Depp's sitting until 2 o'clock in the morning, fake rain. Like, we haven't been called.
Okay.
And sure enough, like, I think it was 8:30, they came in, they're like, it's a wrap. And they're like, what does that mean? They're like, you're done.
Oh.
So it never.
So the model never got a chance to meet him. Is that what you wanted?
She never got her part.
Oh.
Our scene got
Yeah,
cut.
that's true. That
they
happens.
changed it.
Yeah.
It does happen, but we got paid, so I'm like, hey.
I know you got paid,
I got
but it's
paid.
always disappointing when you know.
But to get paid from a major motion picture, I was like, all right, you know what? That's
Right, but
cool.
I mean, and let me tell you something, and even if you're on a set, if you've had the experience of being on a set, the actors, the big actors like DiCaprio, who I worked with, and by the way, I think he thought I was a real mental patient when he looked at me on the set of Shutter Island. But they really do, they get a lot of money, but it is work. They really do work hard.
yeah.
And they,
Oh,
they
yeah.
do have to, and they can't be late and any of that stuff
Nope.
because that doesn't. I mean, look what happened to poor Charlie Sheen. Sheen for missing 2.5 Men. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite shows of all time. But only with him. Once Ashton Kutcher took over his part, I said, nah. I watch it not as much, but okay. So who do you have any inspirations, any actors or actresses that inspire you that you want to mention before we wrap the show up?
I do like, as a kid, I did like watching some of the old school stuff, like
Okay.
Audrey Hepburn
Okay.
type.
You look a little like her.
And my mom looked like her.
Well,
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you. That's a
course.
huge compliment. And now I will say, like, I find people like Sandra Bullock. I think her acting is just, it's so believable.
It is.
It's so believable. She never
You look a little like her too.
drops. Thanks. I'm getting all kinds of good stuff today.
That's what I mean. You have a star look, and as you mentioned in these people, I'm saying I see it in you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
But yeah, I find her to be amazing. Meryl Streep, obviously. I mean, Meryl Streep.
You don't look like
is
her,
just
but that's fine.
amazing actress. I really, for female roles.
Yeah.
But
Any favorite male actors?
well, I like Jake Gyllenhaal because I think he's really hot.
Who?
But Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, okay,
Oh, he's
yeah. He
cute.
is. What about Sean Penn at now 60 years of age?
In Mystic River,
Yeah.
I have to say that he was phenomenal.
Okay.
He was his acting. He was very attractive in that movie. I was like,
No, he's amazing. He keeps himself.
Yeah.
Although I think he smokes cigars, but other than that, he keeps his body pretty ripped.
Yes.
For a guy
Yeah,
that's,
he does.
He's 60 years old and he's
He
in good
does.
shape.
Which is inspiring. I think I had sent you something on that 72-year-old vegan lady.
Oh, you did?
And how,
I'm a 61-year-old vegan and I feel great.
Yeah. Yep.
I would recommend it to anybody, but I just wouldn't. My only problem with other people turning vegan is that the food I eat, they might take it all before I have a chance to.
You could always,
I eat huge.
fight them.
When I eat, I really, stuff my face, and you can't tell. That's the great thing about
That'd
eating
be
vegan.
a good reality show. We could have you at the store, fighting
I
over food.
know. All right, well, listen, I think we're coming down to the final few minutes of the show, so what I want you to do in the time we have remaining is give shouts out to people that are going to see it, and then we'll wrap the show up, because
Okay.
you can start with Joe if you want, and
Oh, yes.
your own children and your cat, and then, and condense them, and that'll do it.
So definitely shout out to Joe McGee,
Joe McGee.
and Jan and the whole cast that's going to be helping me with this project. Crystal, for my friend Crystal, for just jumping in last minute is awesome. Tommy Fury. Tommy boy.
Tommy boy.
And of course my cats, Jack, Clea, my dog Anya.
Cool. I know you had a dog, but okay, that's cool.
And baby, my daughters, my older kids, grandkids. I have grandkids.
You do have grandkids?
I do have grandkids.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And my friend Dexter, because he really inspired me. He got me inspired to write this, and we were going to work on a couple projects, and a couple things got a little screwed up, but he really inspired me to write it. So huge shout out to him.
Okay, well, listen. Before we wrap it up, as you know, we've been friends on Facebook for years, and I've been trying to get you on, and I hope you had a good time with me after all these years.
I did. It was great. This is awesome. I've been trying to get on here forever, and I'm definitely.
So that
happy
having
we
been
did
said, Dana, what I want you to do is to talk to people that haven't been on the show, and see if we can get them on as guests. Because 98% of my guests are through Facebook, but 2% are through word of mouth, and that's where you come in.
I will definitely. As a matter of fact, you just did Liberty recently.
Yes, I did.
And she was
In fact, that was the show
raving
that
about
inspired the
you.
people here in Wareham to want to have me here. So
She was raving about you. She said,
Okay.
"Oh, he's great. He does so much for so many people."
You can keep going for a while with that. That's cool.
She
Wow.
really did. She had a lot of great things to say about you. So I will definitely.
Well, but she's already been
Definitely
on. We
send
want people that haven't been on, though.
I will get you some
Okay.
newbies. Don't you worry.
I
I'll
know
get you
you will.
newbies.
All right, Dana, well, on that note, that having been said, are you ready to wrap it up as we began it?
I am.
Okay,
Thank you.
people of Wareham, I hope you enjoyed our first Topic Time episode here. I hope to bring many more in the future, so enjoy this one and see you next time. Take care. Have a good one.